Hello, welcome back to the YouTube channel. I am Nick from Australia. Welcome to the Rugby League Breakdown podcast, episode number 46 for your Wednesday night. Sorry about the 10-minute delay. I don't know what the hell's happened to All Out CHAMPA. Hopefully he joins at some point, but not sure what the go is there. I haven't heard from him. But tonight I am joined, as always, by regular co-host ProEnzo Vidz and special guest all the way over there in England, one of the greatest rugby league YouTubers on the planet. Just over 2,000 subscribers at the moment. The bloke is a genius. He is a history legend. Ladies and gentlemen, rugby league history is here. Dean, how are you, bro?
Hey up, everyone. I'm sound at the moment, just after 10 o'clock in the morning, and currently about 7 or 8 degrees outside. So
Nice
good morning in England. So
not bad at all. Well, mate, it's good to have you on the podcast. Obviously, we had you on the late night show a couple of weeks back, but it's good to have you on the podcast for the very first time. Welcome, Dean, and mate, love the North Sydney Bears jersey. It looks fantastic.
cheers.
Love the North Sydney Bears. I should never have been kicked out of the competition. We all know that. Fucking hell. But can't fucking change the past now, although I reckon if you went back in a time machine and that whole situation where teams were getting kicked out and teams that were, merging, I think 80% of the people would have kept North Sydney. So it's a shame that they're not in there, but I still reckon I should be. And hopefully we get a team down in the Central Coast very soon. And I can see Paddy G in the chat saying, take that shit off. It's horrible.
Did you see that?
Well, he's a Manly supporter. What do you expect? Manly,
Not
North
really,
Sydney,
mate.
of course. Of course.
Fair enough.
But, ProEnzo Vidz, bro, mate, how are you?
Yeah, bro, I'm going good. Doesn't feel right without the other co-host here, but no, it's all good. And I'd like to welcome Rugby League History to the show tonight. Good to have you on, bro. It's good to see you.
Yeah, bro. Look, I'm not sure what's happened to all that CHAMPA. I've got no idea where he is. I've rang him about 20,000 times. I've left him a couple of messages. You've rang him about 10,000 times. So we've spammed his phone, but I'm not sure what's going on there. But hopefully he gets on here at some point. But ladies and gentlemen, this is the Rugby League Breakdown podcast, episode number 46 for your Wednesday night, May 4th, 2022. Next week's podcast will be live from Brisbane, where I'll be up there in Brisbane. Magic Round next week, I'll be heading up there. So I'll be doing the podcast next week live from Queensland at a location that I will not be revealing. It'll be a very private location. So next week, the podcast will be live from Brisbane, which is going to be fantastic for Magic Round. And I want to say hello to everyone in the live chat. We've got 27 people in the chat, or 28 people now as we speak. The chat's going off. We've got Luke Melbourne Storm fan, Warriors NRL Fanatics, Paddy G, Metallic Panther, Bosky's in the chat. We've got National Sports Loaded. We've got Minty Rabideau, Jason Reader, John, Daniel Sexton, Rugby League Roundup. My God, the chat's going off. I can't even keep up with it. Aussie Mozzie's here. The chat's going off.
People.
CJ's here as well. It's good to see the chat building up. But without further ado, boys, I reckon we should just get straight into the podcast. Oh, just Rugby League's here as well. And fuck me. Before I even get into the topics, boys, I've got to mention this because I reckon this is very important. Now, Rugby League History, you do a podcast on the Just Rugby League YouTube channel called View from the North Podcast. Where can everyone go and check that out?
It's on the Just Rugby League YouTube channel. We do the show at 8 o'clock at night, our time, which is about 5 o'clock in the morning in Australia. I don't expect people to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning, but it's on the Just Rugby League YouTube channel to watch later on when you get the time. So
yeah. Well, everyone, go and check out the View from the North podcast on the Just Rugby League YouTube channel. It's just Rugby League and Rugby League History. They do a fantastic podcast. Everyone needs to go and check it out. It's a quality podcast. And boys, if you haven't subscribed to me, ProEnzo Vidz, and Rugby League History, and everyone else, I don't know what you're doing with yourself. You got to be subscribed, man. It doesn't cost you nothing. As our good friend from Trevor from Shut the Gates always says, he said you get free subscribers. You don't have to pay nothing. There's no bank account bullshit. You just press subscribe and you get free subscribes. It's a lot of fun. So anyway, lads, let's get into it. The chat's going off, and we've got a few things to talk about tonight. And we're going to start off with topic number 5, and that is Ash Taylor. He has retired. It was announced, I believe, yesterday. It was confirmed. There was rumors over the weekend that he was going to retire because of his hip injury or something, I believe it was. Former Broncos, Titans, and New Zealand Warriors half Ash Taylor has retired. I'll start with you first. Rugby league history. What are your thoughts on Ash Taylor's career?
I think it's a career where it probably didn't live up to what a lot of people expected. I remember hearing his name a long time ago when he was coming through the grades, and people said this is a player of the future. And he only played the one match at Brisbane. He signed with the Gold Coast. In his time there, he got a wooden spoon. He played one finals match, which that was the year that the Gold Coast made it by default.
Yeah.
I don't think it's his fault that he was on $1 million a year. If the Gold Coast are that daft to pay someone $1 million a year, then that's on them, not on him. But yeah, I think it's a career that didn't really live up to sort of the hype. But I didn't expect that he'd retire. I don't follow his career that closely, but when I heard the news that he was retired, I was a bit surprised.
Yeah, no, well said. ProEnzo, Vidz, what are your thoughts on the career of Ash Taylor?
Definitely did not live up to expectation, that's for sure. Obviously could have been doing a lot more at his age and was supposed to with the money he was getting at Gold Coast. But yeah, I think he's a player that had some all right games, but the most of his career was pretty much just a failure. And unfortunately, he might come into that category as one of the top something players to not achieve this what they were supposed to. You know what I mean? So look, it was a very, very disappointing career, but I wish him all the best with retirement. Obviously, getting a hip injury is not ideal, so I hope he's all good.
All right. Everyone wants my opinion on this. I've been getting over. I'll tell you what. I've had over 25 messages on Instagram over the weekend. Nick, Ash Taylor retired. Nick, talk about it. Nick, do a video on it. Nick. And I'm going, just wait till the podcast Wednesday night and I'll fucking talk about it. And I'm going to talk about it right now. And with all due respect, I'm going to try and be as nice as I can here. But unfortunately, the truth's going to hurt too much here for a lot of people. In my opinion, Ash Taylor's career was nothing but a complete failure. The bloke was dog shit. He had all this fucking potential. It went straight down the toilet. When he first come on the scene at the Broncos, he looked like a decent young player. He could have stayed at Brisbane with Wayne Bennett because at the time, as we all know, the Broncos, 2015, 2016, I think it was 2015 when he was there, the Broncos were a top 2, top 4 team. They were one of the teams to beat, and Ash Taylor got an offer from the Gold Coast to go there for $1 million, and the kid was unproven, and he chose $1 million over Wayne Bennett, which I think if you ask any other young rugby league player nowadays, they would rather be coached by Wayne. But a lot of people take the money nowadays, which is disappointing. I would rather learn under Wayne than go to a club for $1 million. That's just me, though. And he was shit. He was a shit player. He was dog shit. And look, I wish him well in retirement. I'm not going to sit here and say that he was, I'm not going to sit here and say that as outside of rugby league, he's probably a good bloke. Like, let's be honest here. Outside of the footy field, he's probably a decent and a good human being. But on the rugby league field, the bloke's career was a complete failure. Ash Taylor is the worst half I've ever seen in my life. He was fucked. Awful. So, look, I wish him well in retirement. I think off the field, I wish him well, and I hope he finds something good off the field. But on the field as a rugby league player, the bloke's a complete failure, man. So that's just my opinion on him. He failed. He could have done so much, but he just didn't do it. Anything else you guys want to touch on with Ash Taylor?
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, look, you're right. I mean, I mean, especially getting $1 million a year, you're supposed to be the main guy that does everything and that does a job. And I mean, getting that amount of money, you're supposed to, I guess, set the standard and play like you earn that money. But for him, he had a lot of issues on his career, and it's a shame, really.
Yeah. Dean, is there anything else you want to mention on Ash Taylor?
I think for me, I knew that things weren't right and that his career wasn't going the way it probably would have when in 2019 he took some time out from the game and he wasn't there. And for me, I thought that was going to be the beginning of the end for him, pretty much.
Yeah. No, well said. Well said. We'll move on from Ash Taylor now, boys, and we'll move on to topic number 4. And this is one that's sort of come up in the last couple of days. And topic number 4, should Jackson Hastings be selected for England in the Rugby League World Cup? I know he played for Great Britain last time England played. Apparently, he's pledged his allegiance to England for the Rugby League World Cup. Dean, obviously, you're over there in the UK and you've seen Hastings play before. Do you think Jackson Hastings is a chance to play for England in the World Cup?
I without doubt, he is eligible to play for England. He did play in that unsuccessful 2019 tour that we had, where we didn't win a game under Wayne Bennett. But he pledged his allegiance. He qualifies to his grandmother. His grandmother was English. I think he's a very good player, and there are a couple of injuries in the England squad. Like you've got Johnny Lomax out, Lewis Dodds. He could have been in the England squad. He's out for the year. If he keeps putting in the performances, then I see no reason why he can't play for England at the World Cup.
Just quickly, would you go with George Williams and Jackson Hastings as the halves for England?
I potentially. You've also got Gareth Widd up there. I know Warrington's not playing well at the moment, but he's another option. But I think if I'm not too sure how long Johnny Lomax is going to be out for. I imagine that he probably would have been picked.
Lomax and Hastings, or Williams and Hastings as well. I think he should be selected. ProEnzo, Vidz, what about yourself, mate?
I don't have an issue with it, really. I think if he's pledged his alleged willingness to play for England, then I think he's allowed to. I mean, you look at it and go, look at Blake Huster, for example. He played for Portuguese, didn't he, a couple of years ago? I guess Rugby League history can correct me on that if I'm wrong. But
you went to charcoal.
Yeah, look, I get. But I don't have an issue with it, really. I think, if he wants to play for England, if he's dedicated to play there, then why not? I think it's happened before as well with a couple of other players that have decided to play for other sort of places in Australia. So, look, good on him if he wants to do that.
I suppose the other good thing about Jackson Hastings being eligible for England as well is he can also come off the bench as well in that jersey 14. He can play hooker. He can play in the halves. He can even play lock. He did play a few games at fullback last year for Wigan as well when there were a few injuries. And he, in my opinion, I think he's a great halfback or 5'8". But if he were to play for England in the World Cup, I think it'd be huge for England. And he is eligible, so I think he will be selected. I think he will be selected for England in the World Cup. And whether he plays in the halves or he plays off the bench, I don't know. But he's a bloody good player to have in your squad anyway, in my opinion.
Right.
Just quickly, guys, with Jackson Hastings as well, do you think halfback, 5'8", hooker, or 14 role for him if he does make the England side? Dean, what do you reckon?
I'd probably put him in halfback or probably 14 for me.
Yep. ProEnzo, what about yourself?
I like to see him partner with George Williams, actually. That would be a pretty lethal combination, so probably halfback.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, it's going to be interesting to see what happens if he does play for England in the World Cup. I'd imagine he probably would because, with all due respect, the Kangaroos, they've got Munster, Cleary. Is anyone going to really worry those two players for the Australian halves? Probably not. So I don't think Hastings is going to be in the Kangaroos by any means, but I think England will be perfect for Jackson Hastings. All right. Topic number 3. Jacob Arthur. Well, bugger me. On the weekend, in the Cowboys and Eels game up there in Darwin, Jacob Arthur had probably one of the worst games of football I've ever seen him play. He's copped a lot of criticism. The social media one is obviously the bad stuff, the online trolls and all that crap on social media. Jacob Arthur. Dean, I'll start with you first, mate. Criticism of Jacob Arthur, fair or unfair?
I think the criticism of him being selected in that position over Dylan Brown is warranted, but I don't think that's personal attacks and messaging privately and attacking him as a person. I don't think that's acceptable. I think pretty much everyone out there, even I was listening to GB and Jeannie Soward was one of the 4 commentators, and he's a self-proclaimed Parramatta hero, I think, and he said you got Dylan Brown, one of the informed 5'8" of the competition, and you've got Jake Arthur in there at 6 and you moved in the centre. I just don't understand that. And there was lots and lots of comments on Facebook and YouTube and Instagram exactly the same, but I don't think personal attacks on players is a good thing, but certainly the criticism of having him selected there was warranted. So,
well, the thing is as well, he's an NRL player. He's had a couple of really bad performances. Criticism is fair. You have to get criticised when you become an NRL player. Criticism is all a part of the game. Now, the online trolls, the social media bullshit, I don't like that. That is bullshit, and that is way too far. I don't like that shit. But the criticism where in the media where he's been copping it, saying that, he's not good enough, he's only been picked because of his dad, that's fair. You can say that shit all you want. That's fine. But the idiots online that want to sit behind their mum's computer and type shit all day with 20,000 Google accounts and talk shit on Instagram are fucking idiots. But criticism, I think it's deserved. He's played shit, and you got to cop it. It's the name of the game. ProEnzo, Vidz, what about yourself, bro? Is it fair to criticize Jacob Arthur?
Well, look, here's the issue, right? I mean, everyone doesn't accept criticism. Obviously, everyone sort of, says it if it's warranted and if it's needed. But the thing is, the sport itself, it's a very criticism type sport because, obviously if you have a shit game or a bad game, you get criticized for that performance, and then you sort of just cobble these comments and everything. So it's going to happen, it was going to happen eventually to Arthur because, not to be rude, but he was having a couple of average games, which is fair to sort of say. But yeah, look, the criticism is probably, it's obviously makes sense because of the way he's been playing, but to like rugby league history said, basically, to go and DM him privately on Instagram and sort of just take aim at him personally, and I guess other things about him that has nothing to do with rugby league, that's where it gets a bit too far. So I believe the criticism on his game is fair enough, but him personally copying it is not right.
Yeah. No, well said. And I suppose the other thing with Jacob Arthur as well is the decision to move Dylan Brown to the centres and have Jake Arthur in the halves with Mitchell Moses. Just every time I go back over the last couple of weeks and I look at that decision, I shake my head. Besides the Newcastle game, Jacob Arthur at 5'8" has been atrocious. And I know there's a lot of people who do content like us, and they have been screaming for Jacob Arthur to be dropped. And finally he's been dropped. And look, obviously, I hope he does well in New South Wales Cup. But every game he's played in the NRL, I've never seen him have a game where he's been more than a 7 out of 10. I've never seen him be anything great. I don't think he's ever been man of the match in any games he's played. Obviously, he'll get better in a couple of years from now, but right now, I don't think he's NRL level, bro. That's what I reckon, anyway.
I agree.
Dane, obviously you're a Parramatta fan, but is there anything else you want to mention on Jacob Arthur?
I just think at the moment he's just a very average player. I'd probably see his best match so far would be his debut against New Zealand, where he scored a try.
I was at that game last year, Magic Round. I do remember that. He was pretty good in that game.
Besides that, he hasn't been very good, and I think There's been so many people out there that they can spot it. So maybe he's not ready for the NRL, or maybe he'll never be ready. We don't know. But, yeah,
I think Jake Arthur at the moment is probably New South Wales Cup level. I don't think he's anything better than that at the moment. But yeah, he'll be a better player in 2 or 3 years from now. At the moment, he's not that great at all. But ProEnzo, Vidz, anything else you want to mention on Jake Arthur before we move on, bro?
Look, you know how my rugby league history just said that his only good game in his whole career is his debut. Well, I just hope that doesn't reflect in the same way as Brooks with his start to his career.
Oh God, don't tell me. Oh God, I hope he doesn't end up as another Luke Brooks, but I don't think he will. I mean, if you have a look at Luke Brooks, when Luke Brooks first started, obviously his first game, he was great. Then he was very, very hot and cold for a while, and then he had that season. I think it was 2018 where we got Dally M halfback of the year, or 2019. I think it was 18 though. Got Dally M halfback of the year. I think he just missed out on the Dally M too. But yeah, look, Luke Brooks and Jacob Arthur. I think I don't think anyone can compare that. But we'll find out how Jacob Arthur goes. We'll see how he goes over time. But let's move on to topic number 2. And fellas, can anybody compete with Melbourne and Penrith in season 2022? We all know Melbourne last year, they dominated and they ended up choking in the finals pretty hard. Penrith, on the other hand, they looked like they were battered after that qualifying final against Souths last year, and they ended up getting to the grand final and winning it. I'll start with you first, ProEnzo. Vidz, can anyone compete with Melbourne and Penrith?
Well, at this stage, probably not. But again, like, they are beatable sides if you want to turn up and play the right sort of style. I mean, look at Parramatta, for example. They defeated Melbourne when no one gave them a chance. So they are look. Melbourne and Penrith are beatable, but as of now, they set the benchmark for the competition, and it's very hard to knock off anyone that sort of sets the standard for the game and how the year's going already. So the answer for me is no.
Rugby league history, do you reckon anyone can compete with Melbourne and Penrith?
I think Penrith and Melbourne will finish first and second this year. Yeah, Melbourne might overtake them, or Penrith might stay where they are. I did a video last year where I said it's Penrith and Melbourne and the grand final certainty, and I went back through time and I looked at times where the top 2 teams that have dominated the whole year, how one of them misses out of the grand final, and I documented the choking that Melbourne's done over the years, which is pretty prolific. They have choked a lot, and everyone was kind of laughing at me, and it turned out to be true. Once you get to the finals, it's a different game. Like, it's all about who shows up on the day and who's ready to play and who's going to win. And who knows? It might be another case where it might be another preliminary final, and whoever Melbourne and Penrith are playing, Penrith and Melbourne just have an off day, and the other side's on fire, and they get over the top of them. So we'll just have to wait what happens when the finals come.
Well, if you also go back in time, last year, I also did a video, and I called it, the Melbourne Storm have a history of choking in the finals. I uploaded that video. We got plenty of views, plenty of likes, a lot of dislikes, and I copped a lot of shit for it as well. And everyone said, "Oh, Nick, how dare you post this video about Melbourne? They won't choke in the finals. They're too good. They'll win it. They'll be in the grand final for sure." And when they played that prelim final against Penrith at Suncorp Stadium on that, I think it was a Saturday afternoon game, or might have been Sunday afternoon, I can't even remember. Saturday, I think it was Saturday afternoon game, but it's like 4 o'clock. And I do remember Penrith were playing about $3.70. I had a lot of money on Penrith, and I won a lot of money off that game. And I was laughing. I said, look, Melbourne have got a history of choking. Go back to 2006. They choked that against Brisbane. 2011 against the Warriors. 2013, they went out and straight sets against South and then Newcastle in Melbourne. So they do have a history of choking. 2019 is another one where they lost to Canberra in that qualifying, and the Roosters knocked them out in week 3. So
2015 when they played the preliminary final and sold out Ely Park down there in Melbourne. They lost.
Against us.
2016, they were head and shoulders above everyone in 2016.
And they lost to Cronulla in the grand final. So, look,
Yep.
obviously teams can compete with Melbourne and Penrith. And I guess the thing with Melbourne is they are not unbeatable. You can beat them. Parramatta already beat them this year in Melbourne, which no one gave Parramatta a chance. As for Penrith, on the other hand, they won the grand final last year. It comes down to the desire and the hunger to go back to back. We all know how hard it is. It's only ever happened once since 92, 93. Roosters did it. I know Melbourne and Penrith are looking like unbeatable right now, but in my opinion, teams like the Roosters, they're struggling at the moment, but once they get things right back in the year, Roosters will be challenging them. I think Manly, ProEnzo's boys, I think Manly will get their shit together. I think Cronulla is a team that's looking like they could compete with them. They already competed with Melbourne and they weren't bad. Parramatta already beat Melbourne. And, you know, everyone's talking about the Cowboys and Souths. Look, I think the Cowboys are doing well, and I'm a Cowboys fan through and through. I don't think we're premiership contenders or anything like that. All I care about is just making the top 8, to be honest with you. And Souths, well, I don't know if Souths can compete with them either. And as for everyone else, I don't think anyone else can compete with them. But I think teams can compete with them. It's just, at the moment, Melbourne and Penrith are just on a roll.
Yeah,
that's what I think anyway.
And then the NRL is such a long season. You don't know. I know some I know with Pappenhausen, he's injury prone. He's had some bad injuries in the past before he made his NRL. You never know him. The ball goes to Pappenhausen. Oh no, he's out for 12 weeks or something like that. You just don't know what's going to happen. Or Cleary, he's fucking shoulder.
Yeah, exactly right. And plus, Dean. The other thing as well is, injuries can happen to anyone at any time, but so can COVID. COVID can happen to anyone as well. You got to take. That's another thing that can come into a factor. Imagine
it's out there to get you.
What's that?
It's out there to get you.
Oh yeah. Well, Dean, imagine this. It's a preliminary final. Melbourne are playing in Melbourne. Say they're playing an underdog team like Souths or Parramatta, right? Say Munster and Pappenhausen both get COVID a day before the game. They're going to change the way they play, and anything could happen. So, injuries, COVID, anything could happen to anyone nowadays. So, teams look unbeatable, but all it takes is one problem to happen, and things blow up just like that. So, the great unknown. ProEnzo, Vidz, do you agree with that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, COVID, injuries, it can happen to anybody. I mean,
fuck me, dead boys. I was going to Canberra on the Wednesday, and on the Monday, I got COVID and I couldn't go nowhere. I was fucked. I was supposed to go to Canberra and watch Raiders Cows, but that was fucking taken away from me. That was taken away from me 48 hours before I could even go. So that was terrible. So we'll find out what happens with Penrith and Melbourne, but I think we all agree teams can compete with them on their day. All right. Yeah. Topic number 1, boys. Now, this is one that I find very interesting. Topic number 1, I read about this last night. Leichhardt Oval, set to be upgraded by the New South Wales government. Good decision or bad decision? I'll start with you first, ProEnzo, Vidz. Leichhardt Oval, should it be upgraded by the New South Wales government? Do you like it or do you hate it?
For me personally, I think it's a good idea. I think, it's been around for a while, and I think it's still good use. Tigers still use it quite a bit every year, so I think it is sort of worth an upgrade soon. And I don't blame the New South Wales government for investing in this because it is a nice ground. It does need a bit of a rebuild. Apparently, the stands are a bit old, so I guess they can sort of fix that facility of the ground and then maybe, just in general fix it up. So I like the idea personally. I'm very much... go on,
ProEnzo.
Oh, no, I was just saying I'm very much with the idea.
Yeah, no, well said. Rugby history, obviously you've been to Leichhardt Oval. I believe you've been there a few times. Do you know what it's like? Do they need to upgrade it a little bit?
It's one of my favourite grounds, and I watch NRL matches there. I watch New South Wales Cup matches, Rob Massey Cup. The main grandstand that Lorenzo was talking about, that was open in 1980, the Latch and Robertson stand. The Keith Barnes stand in the corner, that's heritage listed, so you can't touch that. Having been to the ground though, the amenities need fixing, so food and drink, it's very, you can see, old school. And the toilets, I'm not joking with you, I've been to some night matches there where you go to the toilets, you have to walk down a flight of stairs, it's like going to a dungeon, and when you get down there, there's no lights. So you're pissing in the dark. You're pissing in the dark, you can't see now. And sometimes they have to wheel them temporary toilets. So I think that they could probably fix the amenities there, and there's not really much else you can do with Leichhardt Oval. You can maybe change the seats a bit, so I don't think that's you could redevelop the hill. I think that the fans wouldn't like that because it's an iconic bit of Leichhardt Oval.
I'm just going to say this. I have absolutely no problem with the New South Wales government upgrading the ground just a little bit. I think it does need an upgrade. I think some of the seats could be replaced. I think that they could fix the toilet area, like you said, Dean. Fix up the canteen, make it a stronger facility. And let me just say this. I'm going to make this really, really fucking clear. Do not even think about touching the fucking hill. The hill must stay. Do not touch the Leichhardt Hill. And what's that scoreboard where they got where Robbie Farah was sitting on? That time when he was drinking on there? Don't even fucking touch it. Don't even touch the scoreboard. Don't even touch it. Leave it there. It's iconic. It is history. It's iconic. It's an iconic moment. The day when Robbie Farah, I believe he walked out on the Tigers because Jason Taylor and that whole situation and what happened. When Robbie Farah was sitting on the scoreboard and he was having a drink of alcohol or whatever he was drinking, that was one of the most iconic moments in rugby league. That was outstanding. So do not even fucking go near that. Leave that alone. And the hill. Don't touch the hill. The Wayne Pearce as well. Wayne Pearce Hill, don't touch it.
Yeah, I think the only thing that they could probably redevelop a lot is behind one of the goals, not the Keith Barnes stand side, but the other side. They've got the old fashioned, you sit on the concrete blocks, and they could probably remove that and put some more seats behind the goal there.
I like it. I like it a lot. I reckon they should do it, and for fuck's sake, it'd be great to see it. Well, I'm just reading the chat here, and Joey says, why are they doing Leichhardt when they should be upgrading Campbelltown? Fix Campbelltown first, he reckons. What do you reckon about that, Dane?
They definitely should. Campbelltown's had a lot of redevelopment since the 1980s. They've had a lot of things put in, but they could definitely redo it again. I understand Cogger Oval's up for another redevelopment. Penrith's getting a new stadium and all that. So
I've spoken to a few Tigers fans in the last 24 hours about this situation, and they have told me that if the hill gets fucking destroyed or gets taken down and they just make it just a regular stadium with seats, Tigers fans are going to be protesting to NRL headquarters. So I'd imagine if they do get rid of the hill, there'll be a lot of fucking riots in Sydney. Tigers fans won't be happy.
I've had a lot of good memories on that hill as well. They did fix it. Believe it or not, they did fix the back, because at the back, if you haven't been there, the hill goes like that, and then it's a massive drop down the other side. And some people, instead of going to the toilet, they used to go down the other side of the hill and piss down there. But if you fell down there, game over. But they put a fence there now.
Yeah, well, the hill must stay, and I think we all agree with that. The hill has got to stay. But ProEnzo, Vidz, anything else you want to add on this with Leichhardt Oval?
No, I think we covered this topic pretty well, actually.
Yep. All right, now let's get into something fun. Now, as everyone knows, last week I created a new little segment to the show. I was thinking about a name all week, and I've come up with a name. We're going to have a little bit of a little fun game here, and it's going to be called the Breakdown Podcast Game Show. So it's going to be a little bit of a game. It's a shame all our CHAMPA's not here, because we could have had three of us on, but it's going to be ProEnzo Vidz versus Rugby League History. It's going to be a fantastic matchup. I'm going to fix the scoreboard in a minute, so bear with me. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to ask you guys a simple question. Whoever answers first and gets it correct is going to get a point. So first to 3 points. That's how we're going to do it. Bear with me. I'm going to fix up the thing down the bottom here. I didn't realize how fucking messed up I had it. Just bear with me. But ProEnzo Vidz, do you like the name of it? Breakdown Podcast Game Show.
Yeah, well, it relates well to the podcast, and I think it's pretty nice and simple, so I like it.
Dane, what do you reckon?
It's sound, Nick.
Sound does. All right. We are just about ready for this match. This is going to be good. Now, the questions are random. I don't have any of them written down. It's all random. Whatever comes into my mind is what the questions are going to be. And we all know Rugby League History is a genius, so I don't think we're going to question his...
If it's Dally M stuff, I've come last. I do follow the Dally M stuff too.
Well, I had a look on nickbet.com before this match happened, and on Nickbet, Rugby League History was $1.50 favourite to win this, and ProEnzo is paying about $5. So, Dean, no pressure or anything. You're the short price favourite to win this.
No, tons of pressure.
On nickbet.com. Good old Nickbet. All right.
Interesting.
What we're going to do. First question. Like I said, it's best of 3, so whoever gets the 3 first is the winner. We're going to go back to the start of season 2022, fellas. The question is, now you guys can interrupt any time and just be quick with whatever, question you got. What was the score in round 1 between the Panthers and the Seagulls?
Penrith 28, Manly 6.
That's correct. That's correct. ProEnzo Vidz off to a flying start. ProEnzo Vidz goes to a 1-0 lead. Updating it in the chat. There it is. ProEnzo Vidz 1, Rugby League History 0. So a good start for ProEnzo Vidz. All right. Second question. How many NRL Grand Finals have the Cowboys been in?
3.
Correct. That is absolutely correct. Rugby League History levels the score at 1-1. Going to put that in the chat there. All right, here we go. We are level at 1 apiece now. Pretty easy questions. I'm going to try and come up with something a bit more difficult in just a second. All right. Bear with me. I'm going to get a question from Google. I reckon because
I thought these questions were already pre-done.
No, they're not redone. They're not
redone.
Up. All right, here we go. All right, here we go. This is going to be a good one. All right. Bear with me.
Yep.
Okay. Fuck me, Dad. Fucking Google, bro. I'll tell you what. All right, another question coming up here any second. I just want to get it up on the screen here. All right. Here we go. How many games of State of Origin did Jonathan Thurston play?
37, I think.
Fucking hell. How do you get it right?
I wouldn't guess that.
Was 37 the answer?
Yeah, 37's correct. Don't know how the fuck you get it right.
I knew it was a high number.
It was definitely going to be close to the 30s. I can't believe you got that right. First go and all. You got the question right before I even... Dean, you got the question right before I even you got the question quicker than I fucking Googled it. You 37, straight off the bat, fucking bang. Fuck,
He's a freak.
All right. Oh, you're more than a fucking freak. All right. Next question. What year did James Tedesco debut for the Roosters?
2018.
I think ProEnzo Vidz was probably a tad quicker. I think ProEnzo just beat Dean just on the bell there, so we're going to be leveled at 2 apiece.
All right.
But you know what that means, right? Next question wins.
Golden point. Golden point.
It's golden. Yeah, it's golden point. There's extra time. We're level. We are level. All right. I need a good question for this. I need a good fucking question. All right. I'll tell you what. I'm going to give you a tough question.
Okay.
I'm going to give you a really tough question. All right. Here we go. Last year, when the Tigers and the Cowboys played at Leichhardt Oval in round 5, the Cowboys won their first game at Leichhardt Oval for the first time in about 20-odd years. What was the full-time score between the West Tigers and North Queensland Cowboys last year at Leichhardt Oval?
32-26, I think.
Wrong. ProEnzo?
Cowboys 34, Tigers 26.
Wrong. You're fucking close, though. Probably history.
I think it was 30 points to 28. Maybe.
Nah, you're close. ProEnzo?
Cowboys 36, Tigers 30.
Wrong. You're very close. Rugby history?
North Queensland 32, West Tigers 26.
Close. ProEnzo Vidz, don't read the chat, brother. That's cheating, brother.
Well, that doesn't help, but was it Cowboys 30, 32-30?
Nah. Rugby history?
I think I already said, but wasn't it 34-30?
Yes, correct.
No.
Correct. 34 to 30.
The chat gave it away.
34 to 30. Rugby history is the winner.
I can't even see the chat, but where people putting the answer in there.
Yeah, because you're using your phone, so you can't see the chat.
No, mate.
You wouldn't be able to see it. You wouldn't be able to see the chat. But Rugby history is the winner of 3-2 in the Breakdown Podcast Game Show, the official launch of the Breakdown Podcast Game Show. Rugby history is the winner. Fucking close match, though. I thought ProEnzo was going to steal there for a minute.
Fair play.
Fair play to
Fair play.
All right, now let's get into the round of footy, guys. What we're going to go for our round 9 tips. So all I want you to do, we're going to go through it. All I want you to do is tell me who's going to win. Give me a margin of 1 to 12 or 13 plus, and just give me an anytime try scorer or something. Just give me a try scorer in there. So round 9 of the NRL, fellas, kicks off tomorrow night in about 24 hours from now, actually. Tomorrow night, 7:50 at Stadium Australia, or Telstra Stadium, as I like to call it. It's the Rabbitohs versus the Broncos. ProEnzo Vidz, who wins this by how much? And give us an anytime try scorer.
Look, call me crazy, but I'm tipping the Broncos by 6 points. I know there's no Haas, no Capewell, but I think Reynolds will be the difference in the match, in my opinion. And my anytime try scorer, I'm going to go with Cobbo.
Wow, Broncos, that is an upset. Probably history.
I tipped Brisbane to win 1 to 12, but I might change my tip because I did my tips before the list come out. And I'll go Brisbane 1 to 12 at this stage, and Tony Stacks to get a try.
Yeah, I'm like it. Look, I'm going against this here. I'm going Souths. I think back in Sydney, Souths will be too good for the Broncos. No Haas, no Capewell. I think Souths win this game by 13 plus, and I reckon Campbell Graham is going to score a try this weekend. Souths will beat the Broncos Thursday night. All right, Friday night footy, 6 p.m. down there in Canberra, good old Bruce Stadium. It's Canberra versus Canterbury. ProEnzo Vidz, what's going to happen in this one?
What's going to happen? I think Canberra will bounce back and win by 10 points. I know there's no Wyden, but I think at home they want to make a statement in front of their fans there, and I don't know, the Dogs will back up the same form. So I tipped Raiders by 10, like I said, and my anytime try scorer, I reckon Croker on his return. Rugby
history, what do you reckon about this one? Raiders and Bulldogs.
I'm going Canterbury Bankstown 1 to 12, and Josh Adokar to get a try.
Yeah, look, I'm going to go the Bulldogs 13 plus here. I reckon Matt Frawley and Brad Snyder in the halves might be the worst halves combination I think I've ever seen in my entire life. Adam Elliott at hooker, but believe it or not, he was actually very good against the Warriors last week at dummy half. Actually played really well. But I'm going to go the Dogs 13 plus. I'm going to go Pangai Jr. to score a try anytime. Tavita Pangai Jr. All right, the next game, which is the main game on the Friday night, 7:55 at Penrith Park. Penrith Panthers, Parramatta Eels, Battle of the West. ProEnzo Vidz, what happens here, mate? Panthers Eels.
I've gone Penrith 13 plus, and my anytime try scorer, I think Taylor made for a double.
Yeah, wow. Rugby history. What do you reckon about this one?
Penrith 13 plus, and I'll go with Ethan Cleary to get a try.
I'm going to go Penrith 1-12. I think this will be a closer game than what we all think. Parramatta will be better with Dylan Brown in the halves. I just feel Penrith, they're just too good at the moment. So I'm going to go Penrith 1-12 here. And I'll tell you what, I reckon William and Kickow will score a try in the second row this weekend. Kickow will bag a try. All right, Super Saturday, 3 p.m. at Brookie. Manly and the Tigers. ProEnzo Vidz, what happens here, mate?
Yeah, I think Manly win 1-12. I don't think it'll be a big win. I think we'll just get a nice win over there, Brookie. And my anytime try scorer, I believe Tom will get a double.
Yeah, wow, I like that. Rugby history, Manly Tigers.
Manly Warringah 1-12, and Ruben Garrick to get a try anytime.
Yeah, look, I'm going Manly 1-12 as well, and I was going to say a turbo double as well, but I'll go something different. I'll go off the bench. Dylan Walker score off the bench. Manly 1-12. All right, Saturday night, 5:30 at BB Prince Stadium up there in Mackay. Roosters taking a home game to Mackay. Roosters in the Gold Coast. ProEnzo, Roosters Titans.
Roosters by 1-12. I think they'll bounce back and make a statement. And my anytime try scorer, I believe, bit of a roughie here, but I think the back row will score Tupanua.
Yeah, I like it. He should have scored the first try last week, but he dropped it over the line. Rugby league history, Roosters and Titans up there at Mackay.
I'll go East to win 1-12, and yeah, I was going to pick Tupanua as first try scorer, but I'll go Tedesco to get the try at any time.
I'm going to go the Roosters 19 plus. I don't reckon the Titans will even score a try this weekend. So Roosters to keep the Titans to nil will be paying a good price. I might even have a look at it while I'm doing it as we speak. There we go. Roosters Titans. Roosters to win to nil. $14. So fuck man, what a shit price that is. But I'm going the Roosters 19 plus here, fellas, and I'm going to go Sam Walker to score. Sam Walker to bag a try at 5-8. Roosters to win. Saturday night, 7:35 up there in Townsville, Queensland Country Bank Stadium. It's my boys, the Cowboys, up against the Knights, who are struggling at the moment. ProEnzo Vidz, Cowboys and Knights up in Townsville.
Yeah, look, I think Cowboys will be a bit too good for Newcastle. I think they'll win 13 plus. And my anytime try scorer, I like Hamiso from the bench to score a try.
I love it. I love hearing that. That's great to hear. Rugby history, Cowboys and Knights up in Townsville.
North Queensland 13 plus, and I'll go Kyle Felt tip Penn to get a try.
Kyle Felt loves a try on that wing. I'm going to go the Cowboys 30 plus. Not to sound biased, but Newcastle haven't scored a try in 2 weeks, and they have gotten worse, and the Cowboys have gotten a whole lot better. So Cowboys 28 to 30 plus. And I'll tell you what, boys, I reckon Ruben Cotter will score a try this week. Ruben Cotter will score.
Fish.
Ruben Cotter will score. Cows to win. Well, all right. Sunday afternoon, 2:00, Amy Park in Melbourne. Storm versus Dragons. ProEnzo, what happens here, mate?
Yeah, I like Melbourne 13 plus, but it won't be like a massive 13 plus. I think it'll be reasonably tight. But yeah, I think Storm will be too good. And my anytime try scorer, I'm back in Coates.
Yeah. Dean, I know you can't stand Melbourne, and I know it probably makes your fucking stomach feel sick talking about them, but what's going to happen here?
Unfortunately, Melbourne by 20 points at least.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, Justin Nolan will get a try, but how Eastern George?
I am tipping Melbourne, boys, but I'm going Melbourne 1-12. Dragons have won 3 in a row. They got a lot of confidence at the moment, and I don't know about you guys, but winning 70-10 and 50-2 back-to-back weeks, it can make you really cocky. It can make you too overconfident, and I don't think it's a good environment doing that sort of stuff. So I think this is going to be a closer game than what we all think. So I'm going to go Melbourne 1-12 here, and Harry Grant from dummy half will probably score a try. So I'm going Harry Grant to score, Melbourne to win. And the final game of the round, Sunday afternoon, 4 p.m. down there at Shark Park in Cronulla. It's the Sharks versus the Warriors. This should be a entertaining sort of high-scoring game. Hopefully it's a dry day down there at Shark Park. ProEnzo, Vidz, the Sharks and the Warriors.
Yeah, for me, Cronulla to win 1-12, and I believe my anytime try scorer is going to be probably Katoa, I think.
Sione Katoa, I backed him for top try scorer at the start of the year. Hopefully it happens. Rugby history, Sharks and the Warriors.
I will go Cronulla Sutherland to win 1-12 and Ronaldo Mulatalo to get a try.
Ronaldo Mulatalo. That's what I want to say.
Ronaldo McDonaldo.
I'm going to go the Sharks 1-12. I reckon this will be a high-scoring game. Something like 28-22. I don't know. High-scoring sort of game. Talakai will score this week, boys. He got embarrassed last week. He's had 9 days to reflect. He'll be better this week. Talakai will score this week. Sharks will win 1-12. Should be a great game, that one. But, guys, there are our tips for round 9 of the NRL. Is there anything else you fellas want to discuss before we wrap things up?
No, look, I just want to say thank you to Rugby League History for joining the podcast again. Obviously, it's always good to have you on any show, whether it's my podcast or this one. It's good to have you here. So thank you again for joining. And unfortunate about all that CHAMPA, but I'm sure he'll be back next week. But yeah, thanks, Nick. Yeah. Thanks, Chat.
Well, mate, thank you very much, ProEnzo Vidz. It's been good. And Rugby League History, mate, I want to thank you very much for taking the time out of your very busy day to come on the channel for the podcast.
No bother. It was fun to be on, mate, and hopefully Lachlan George will be back on next week.
Yeah, hopefully. Well, mate, thank you for coming on, man. Obviously, we started at 10 your time over there in the UK. We had a few delays, but it's all good, and it's been a great chat. It's been good having you on, and I'll definitely invite you back on again in the near future. But everyone, go and subscribe to Rugby League History and ProEnzo Vidz if you haven't already. I guarantee you won't be disappointed. Thank you so much, fellas, for a fantastic podcast. It's been great. Thank you very much, fellas. It's been a great show tonight.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Well, thank you to the boys, and thank you to everyone in the live chat. You guys have been very good tonight. Obviously, we've had a couple of drop kicks in the chat, but they've been taken care of, and they're all going back to the mummies crying. But anyway, guys, thank you all for watching. Like, subscribe, do all that good shit. Thank you to everyone in the live chat. Hope you all have a fantastic night, and I'll see you guys tomorrow night at about 9:50, 10 p.m. for the Thursday night football review between South Sydney and Brisbane. Anyway, have a good night. Like, subscribe. See you later.